Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Sunday morning to you. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty here with R. Wayne Steiger for our regular weekly extravaganza, the Not Your Normal Sunday Morning Show. We also have the Wednesday midweek report, and so we're glad to see you here. Davey says, best damn show on a Sunday.
Thank you, Davey. Hello, everyone.
And we agree. So, Wayne, we had the JFK release this week, and we just had today President Trump saying he's going to order the rest of them released with only names redacted.
Yeah, this is getting weird. I mean, it's the kind of the drip, drip, drip effect. And I often wonder, listen, are we going to see at the end of this really nothing? Is it really going to be that, although I think the smoking gun they're saying is where Hoover is saying, we've got to get the American people believe that Oswald did this.
And good morning from Osaka, Japan.
Good morning.
Paul killed James. False apostle murders true was really good. Thank you, sir.
So here's the deal, and then I think what was the other thing that Hoover said? The shooting of Ruby should have never happened. Really? We waited 50 years.
That.
Yeah, imagine that. I mean, how does a guy who's a bar owner get in the middle of the police station, in the basement, by the way, one of the biggest events ever, right?
Bar and strip club owner.
And walks in there with a gun and gets within like 2 feet of him.
He was one of the most notorious local gangsters in Dallas, no question.
And so you're telling me that none of these cops recognized him?
He was obviously on the payroll. It was definitely an inside job.
Oh, and he just happened to have syphilis as well. I mean, yeah, sure.
Well, of course, the first rule of assassination, kill the assassins.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And how long did Ruby last in jail before he was offed?
Wasn't more than a couple of years.
Yeah.
And the thing about it was
Arizona,
where he
Puerto
was.
Rico.
Good morning. Good morning. The whole thing, they tried to recreate with that particular rifle at the time. You can't get 3 shots off the way that they said he got him off.
I've seen Jesse Ventura do it on his TV show, and he was an expert marksman in the military, and he couldn't even come close.
No. And then again, it's the bullet that defies, explanation.
Right, the magic bullet.
Yeah.
Old, obsolete Russian rifle. I mean, they didn't even think it through very well, really. They didn't expect to have anybody question them.
You're almost getting this idea that he picks up the rifle and the stock breaks off,
Exactly.
I don't know.
Meanwhile, he hears shots go off. Travis Thorpe in the house.
Hello, Travis. Good to see you.
Travis blaming it on Hillary. I think that might be a little early for blaming it on Hillary.
He's
joking, of course.
I still say this. When Jackie passed away, it was her ardent belief that it was Johnson. She was convinced that Johnson had something to do with it. And I think that if anyone was close enough to the situation, she would have known.
We'll never know. Have you been to the school book depository?
I have. I've stood out there on the grassy knoll. I was actually
Have you been up in the window?
I have not. No.
Yeah, I went up there. It's interesting.
I remember I was there in the 70s before they did the reconstruction of the whole thing. So, I don't care. That first bullet, you can see it taking Connolly out. I mean, he's hit from the front. I just don't see how a bullet coming from the back would push a man back instead of forward. But anyway.
And it's just so tight. The view's so tight from there. The angle's so severe. There's just no way. There's just no way.
No, it's like the one gal said. She said there were 2 muzzle flashes that she saw, 2 flashes. She thought they were cameras. Because back then, folks, we actually had
flash cubes, yeah.
Yeah. And
now, have you seen, speaking of false flags, have you seen, and this is just thrown out there, I don't know anything about it, I've seen it 2 or 3 places. It looks like on the night of the Harvest Festival thing, there's some footage of it, of like muzzle flashes coming from a helicopter.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's
Yeah.
or helicopter, drone, whatever.
We'll never know. I mean, and I think eventually, I don't know if our society will eventually just forget about this and just put it back as one of those things like with the Lincoln assassination.
Probably will.
Yeah, I think that's what it
Probably
will.
will. And I saw somebody on YouTube channeling Stephen Paddock, which is pretty interesting since the guy's probably not even dead.
How do you do that?
Can you channel a living person? And
I don't
Catherine
know.
brings up there's a video that really did you ever look up that video that looks like Jackie shot
No.
JFK?
No.
You should look that up. It's worth the look.
Okay.
It'll mess with your head a little bit. And Catherine Emma says, sure looks like Jackie did it. And there's a strange video that even looks like the driver turned around and did it.
You know, it just goes to prove my point. We live in a day of where we used to think that the days of Sir Arthur and Merlin were the days of magic and mysticism. No, it's today because
Yep.
you don't know what's real.
You really don't.
You don't. I
You
mean,
really don't. Davey says you can't channel a living person. That's called possession. Or I guess it would be called yeah, if you actually channeled them, that would be possessing them, wouldn't it? And remote viewing at the same time.
or
We should give it a shot.
just a bad relationship. I don't
Hello,
know.
Preshni. Nice to see you. We got an international audience and coast to coast, border to border here in North America as well.
Thank you. Thank you for turning in.
Yeah,
Um,
it's awesome. It really is. Now, I saw your show with Barbara DeLong. I think I'm going to have her come on and talk about mediumship because I have a great interest in spiritism. I don't know if she considers herself a spiritist, a spiritualist, but she
I think
did
she
say
does.
that she is a medium.
Yes, yes. In fact, I will be on her radio show tomorrow night. So, yeah, she had mentioned that she had actually spoken to other people who had recently just crossed over.
Hmm.
And some of the stories were very fascinating.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's one of those things. I was thinking today, are ghosts real or not?
And on that note, Wayne, I had a lady send me an email, and somehow, inexplicably, my thick fingers, I deleted the email, can't find it, but she was asking me about a daughter or a niece that had just committed suicide. And she said the niece came to her and said, it was a mistake. I didn't mean to do it. And I reached out. I think I got in contact with her, and I just wanted to let you know, and I'm sorry to do this publicly, but I can't get a hold of you. I think that the girl actually, whether she meant to or not, it was a suicide. After going and looking and searching and speaking to some folks in the know up there, it looks like she, like all suicides, got sent right back. So she's fine. She's not suffering, but she is back for another round, which is what happens with suicides. Typically, they get sent right back. So if you're thinking about committing suicide to get out of life, don't do it because you're coming around one more time from the beginning.
Yeah, I just want to add to that, and Barbara would agree with that. In fact, we talked about that.
Oh, did you?
Yep, exactly. And
Interesting.
so she said the same thing, that they're sent right back through. And here's the thing, folks, you may not have everything on the list checked off when you get over there, but the fact that you went in naturally and you went out naturally counts for a whole lot.
It gives you a shot.
Yeah.
Now, are ghosts real? What is your commentary on that, Wayne?
Well, after talking and listening to Barbara, I've got two parallel thoughts going here, Jeff. Number one, we are spirit, we are mind. I did a video for your consideration, and it was a deep one, but I contend that mind must be with spirit. Spirit can exist, but if spirit exists, it's at perfect rest. And we would call that the sleep, the blessed sleep. I think it's how it's been termed. So Barbara said that she was there. I'll just recant a story, and you can ask her to tell this story better than I can. But anyway, there were apparently two daughters that their father had just passed away, and they wanted to know, was he all right?
Mm-hmm.
Barbara said that when she was in the session, she said, I see a man, and she described him.
Hmm.
And they said, that's Papa, that's Dad.
Oh,
And
wow.
she said, but he is cussing up a storm. And I'm listening to this and I'm going, okay. And the two daughters couldn't figure it out. And they said, well, why? But she said, no, he's using language that very colorful. She said, well, that's Dad. Um, and he's saying, you gave away his suit that he wanted to be buried in. Now get this. And he is hopping mad because you buried him in the old coat. And he says, guess what? You've been looking for the safety deposit key. You buried it with me.
Oh, brother. Did they dig him up?
Yeah, they did. They actually exhumed the
I just
body.
pulled this card for that girl I was talking about, High Priestess. She's going to be fine. Don't worry
Good,
about her.
good. So that led me to believe, she said that there was another time where the guy was sitting in a Barcalanger with Jack Daniels or Jim Beam or something, some kind of whiskey. And,
In the afterlife.
well, yeah. And she said, the family said, yeah, that's him. That's what he enjoyed doing. And as she explained it, it takes some people a while to let loose of what I am learning is called that silk thread.
The silver cord.
Exactly. It's been, and apparently I just finished a book that really gets into this very detailed. And it makes me to believe that someone apparently was talking to maybe not on the other side, I don't know, maybe an intermediary, but the reason why apparently people retain their reality of this one over there is that they can't let go. They're either worried about family, they're worried about a spouse. There are just some people who are just out and outright angry,
Yep.
mad. They go with hatred.
Genevieve says her mother communicated with her as planned after her passing.
Well, all I know is this. At the young age of 6, when I lived in Santa Clara, California, I had an aunt that, I think I may have told you this, Jeff, that was hit by a car. And she died, and it was at night, about 11:30 at night. Any case, that was in Sacramento, and we lived in Santa
Just
Clara.
just a couple hours away from Santa Clara.
Yep.
3 hours.
Well, my aunt my brother and I had bunk beds, and I slept on the top. And she was there. She came and woke me up. And I remember to this very day, she said, I'll always be looking after you. And she just said a couple of other things. And then the light came on from my grandmother and grandfather's bed, and we lived with my grandparents because she heard voices.
Wow.
So
Wow.
it's very interesting. So do I believe in ghosts? I don't believe in the case that where they have been used to frighten people. I don't think that the afterlife is filled with people that are just. Barb said that she's never talked to one who's been in torment. She says she's talked to a lot that were confused, but no one that was in torment. So, it leads me to believe that we have been taught wrong about death. Odd that we're talking about this because apparently the ancients, their practice of death was to typically bless the family, take care of their affairs, then go into their room and let the ghost go. Now, I think that's the way it was meant to be. We don't come in on our terms. We come in on birth, which is, by the way,
I'd fire that medium, Michelle.
I see birth now is really as the entrance of death. And I'll tell you why. Because the human body, physiologically, even at an infant, cannot take the birth process once it's gone through. It'll kill you. You ever think about that? It will
No, I have not.
it will literally kill a physical body. So think about this, folks. If the entrance to this life was brought by such pain and it's pain.
Oh,
It,
yeah.
my wife, who been a nurse for 37 years, has delivered more babies than I have followers. Um, so, but it takes newborns about 36 to 48 hours just to recover from the shock.
Oh, I can imagine.
So I see death in a whole different light. I don't see it as this painful experience. I see it as probably as what I'm reading is more orgasmic. Now, what pulls us back from what I just read is that when you have these lingering cares, and a lot of people can't get over the materialism, they really, it gets into their soul. And when they get over there, they create this weird alternate reality until they fictionally figure it out. So that's
Yeah,
my take on ghosts.
yeah, I've been dealing with this kind of stuff for, wow, 35, 36 years
Well, what's
now.
your experience then? Yay or
Well,
nay?
I don't have many theologies or isms about it, but from practical knowledge, there are spirits that some don't even know they're dead. That's why they hang around.
Yeah, I can see
Some,
that.
some hang around because they don't want to let go. But most of the things that we think are ghosts, and people may not like to hear this, most of the things that we think are ghosts, most of them, not all of them, not trying to devalue anybody's experience, but most of the things that we think are grandma, dead relatives are really other entities impersonating them. So
That freaks me out.
you have to have your, what's that?
I said that freaks me out.
Yeah, you have to have your, you have to have your spiritual, you have to have your blink tuned up. So yes, there are ghosts, but the ghosts are only the ones that haven't gone from this life and haven't gone from the astral yet and passed on. Now, if they stay there, some of them can stay there for quite a time if they're attached to places or things or even people, but they will, if they don't get any interaction, eventually die out because they need exchange of energy from living people. But most of the thing, and then they usually will die out or move on relatively quickly, couple years at the most. That's my experience. But most of the things I think that we see that are keep coming back years and years later, like grandma died 20 years ago and she's still visiting you. I hate to tell you, but that 99.9% ain't grandma. Ask some questions, listen to your blink, and that's just that's my experience in 35, 36 years of doing this.
Well, that's worth the price of admission today. So,
It's
but
interesting. It really is.
it is.
But I mean, that's why I, on a regular basis, do what I call astral evangelism. People have died here, haven't got the truth here. They're stuck because they don't know what to do or where to go. Or even when they get into a soul farm, you can still reach out to them with the information of the teachings of the Christ, and they can make an escape.
I think that's pretty cool.
Peter did it. The Christ did it. So I figured, why not me?
I think we may all have that ability. I don't know.
Oh, we do. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah,
Just do we have the guts?
yeah. It's listen. I've come very much in tune that this is the time to prepare. I mean, um, life is an interesting journey within itself. I feel very fortunate as I now see to reach what we call a senior age, and unfortunately, in our culture and society, we don't respect that. Past cultures, the Chinese culture, the Japanese, many of these cultures realized that the greatest asset they had was the wisdom of their elderly.
Well, we do get a discount at Denny's.
Well, there is that, but um, so here's what I'm saying. It's if you're truly on the path, and as I said, when you get off of the God spell and you begin to realize really who and what you are, that's what I keep on trying to impress upon people is mind, is your mind. The mind is something that, philosophers have thought about for thousands of years. Religious prognostics have written volumes. Religions have been made about it. but we never are taught about our mind. And my point is that I think that as we begin to see that the inevitability is coming, the day you're born is one day closer to your death,
That's true.
that we can now begin to prepare. And I don't want to get on that other side and go, oh crap, you know, the fact of getting back through here again. No, I don't think so. I don't like
Yeah,
that
if you
idea.
don't prepare now, you're probably going to be coming back again or end up in a place you don't want to be.
Yeah.
So this is the time to prepare and learn about the afterlife, and very few people teach it, and it's sad. That's why I do the series on, you know, how to navigate the after death plane.
You know, I still say I ought to start doing a business plan on this. I believe that, seriously, listen, I believe that there is an opportunity to begin to open what I would call transformation centers.
Oh, absolutely.
I believe that we could get a group of investors together and then begin to bring in the teaching to every city, allow people to come in and get a lesson, a cultural lesson of what death is really from a non-religious, you know, hell, heaven perspective.
Would normal people go for that?
I think they would. You know,
And you'd be picketed by all the Christians.
I don't think so, because there comes a point in time to where, listen, I think that the Christ said that as a man thinketh, so he is. And I
Hmm.
don't think that here is a forced ideology. I think we've been taught wrong about death. I think death has been used against us psychologically as a weapon, as a control
Absolutely.
mechanism. And you know, when you deal with people on hospice, I've seen people die, and there's there the ones that seem to be so bound up are the ones that seem to die with the greatest fear, and that's a crappy way to exit.
It really is.
So to answer your question, yes, there was. I had an article pulled up, Jeff. It's odd that we have here saying about millennials. Millennials are leaving religion, organized
Yep.
religion, by over 52% now.
Hmm.
Whoa!
That's great. That's great news.
You know,
That's fantastic.
if I was
It
the
gives me
Pope,
hope.
you
Hopefully,
know,
I had a little something to do with that.
well, something's happening, but now here's the thing: they're looking for the spiritual. So
Absolutely.
you
They're
know,
giving up on religion, but they're not giving up on God. I'm going to have a local meetup here. I just decided I'm going to do it. I'm going to advertise it on Meetup. I got a place here in my community where I can use a hall for free. I could put 100 people in there. And I'm going to have a what to do after you die, or
yeah.
a meetup and see what happens. Going to do a little talk about what is death and how to navigate it after you die.
Listen, I had this thought
Going to
yesterday.
do it in November right here in Clearwater, Florida.
Then let's. I think that is something worthwhile. I may try to think something here in Denver as well. Is that
And I'll live stream it,
that's a great idea. So here's the
or at
deal.
least film it. I don't know if I can get good enough internet there.
Well,
I'm going to do that. That's a done deal. That's coming up in November or December. It'd be a nice time around Christmas. People thinking about stuff,
yeah.
or
Listen,
between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
we should go with this with celebration, with joy.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's a joyous time. You're done. I mean,
You're graduating.
so Jeff, in this video I did on my channel called For Your Consideration, I learned something, my friend. And
Cuban Pixie's also in Denver, Wayne. You got a lot of people out there in Denver.
well, then we ought to get together and
You
start
got
having.
Cuban Pixie. You got Jen Morris. I know for sure. That's three.
So think about this. When we think about death, and we have this whole thing now where it's like, oh man, this sucks. Imagine I learned something, and here it is. It is impossible for a mortal to find mortal bliss. And the last thing is this: no man is ever satisfied.
Hmm. I'm coming pretty close to mortal bliss right now.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible. It can never be. It's like,
There's still a couple boxes I'd like to click, but
well, it's like
check. But
perfection.
I'm pretty good right now, man. I really am.
Well, but are you satisfied?
No,
See?
you can't ever be satisfied
Yeah.
because then you'll settle.
So that's the point. And I think that is, I think, one of those secrets, those golden nuggets, as Bob Tilton used to say.
Bob Tilton.
And is that, it really can't be done here.
No.
And I'm learning about that.
What do you think of John Edwards, psychic medium from New York?
I don't know. I don't know him.
I don't know him either. So apparently, not much.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm not drawn to that. I just,
Me either.
um, people want to know their future. To
Yeah.
me, I'll use the phrase that in the Terminator, right? The future is not written.
Yeah.
And
And I was just thinking before we came on the air, I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist. I'm not really that interested in the Kennedy assassination, and I'm not really that interested in UFOs.
well, I think that's like, in fact, I wrote this. It's odd that we're getting it. It's amazing how we can work on this. But I said, is revelation the ultimate mind coitus?
Revelation's a 90% bogus.
They've had 2,000 years to create the event in us. And as we were just talking about that, so,
Now, wait a minute. Special announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, Heidi Vandenberg is in the building.
oh, hello, good morning, Heidi. So,
And Heidi, I'm reading Marina Abramovic's palm, so we can do I know you did her chart, and we could do the chart and her palms kind of here sometime next week as soon as you come up for air. Sorry, Wayne.
no, as again, it's getting to that place where we all are at and understanding the mind. I tell you, I just finished this book, Jeff. It took me places that they tell you at the beginning of it that if you read this, that just by reading the thing, it's going to open up new pathways of thought. But holy cow, you get at the end of it, you go, had no idea.
Yeah.
None. I never realized, for instance, that mind is what actually moves upon matter, which is our bodies, to move it.
Yeah.
Our bodies as all matter is at a state of rest. I never realized that.
And let me make one statement to amend what I said earlier. There are very few that for some reason elect to stay in what we would call the astral realm to help people out. Very, very few, but there are some.
Boy, they're definitely heading for the top on that one.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, the fact that if this is what I am, okay, will you allow me to digress a second onto another
Absolutely.
subject?
Take your liberty.
Okay. Right now, I'm going to be doing a video today. I'll be posting it probably later this evening. Right now, our galaxy, the Milky Way, is in a galactic collision. It's already happening. We are right now colliding with the dwarf Sagittarius galaxy. In fact, folks, we can now see it. If you live in an area where there's no Earth light shine to pollute it, you look up there, look now over to the right, and you can now see the Sagittarius galaxy, the dwarf galaxy. All right, come to find out, the Milky Way is a carnivorous thing. This thing.
Wayne, do you think it's just because I'm fasting that every time you say Milky Way, I think of the candy bar?
I'm putting the thought in your head, man. Get out of my head.
And we're eating Sagittarius.
Yes, we are. And now we can see the Sagittarius dwarf galaxy in our nighttime sky. Folks, this is what I'm trying to point out. There are millions, probably billions of worlds, because I believe every galaxy has them. I believe they're habited. that are right now in destruction. And it's being absorbed into our galaxy. In about 4.5 billion years, we're heading head on to Andromeda. But before we get there, we're going to hit 2 or 3 others. And it's how we're situated in the galactic plane. My point to all this, I believe that there's sentient life taking place there. And
In
here,
Sagittarius?
oh, yeah, yeah, I believe in that galaxy. Absolutely. And my point is this, there is destruction taking place that we're not even aware of.
So do you think that our galaxy is actually destroying sentient life forms?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you start consuming other galaxies, I mean, we literally, that's what the Milky Way is doing. It is literally assimilating them. We're pulling it in.
Is our galaxy the only carnivorous galaxy?
Well, the universe is a big place. It's just that the Milky Way, and we see this all the time. Hubble has shown us many other galaxies. We see it. We see the aftermath of these galaxies. Why are all galaxies spirals?
So is this, I mean, has whoever made this galaxy, I mean, this galaxy is all about, I mean, our realm here in the earth is all about death and bloodshed and being carnivorous and taking over. Does that extend to the whole galaxy? Is this just a galaxy of rogues?
It appears that in the galaxy, it's not a very pleasant place. It's harsh, and
So, let me call earmuffs. So is this just a galaxy full of assholes?
or the biggest mind coitus ever. Uh, my point is this: is that when I see death now, I see it expanded out because I brought in the collision of 2 galaxies right now taking place. That the fact is that most people are just worried about, well, what happens to me?
Somebody mentioned the Dennis Leary song. Remember that?
Yes.
I'm an asshole.
By the way, The Ref is still one of the best satirical comedies you can watch. It's got Dennis Leary in there. Kevin Spacey is in there. It's a great movie. Anyway, I
The Ref is a movie?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll have to watch that. I like Dennis Leary because
Oh,
he's a hockey player.
yeah. So the mother-in-law is there, and her husband had died, and Dennis Leary.
Somebody says we're actually in the Sagittarius galaxy, not the Milky Way.
I don't think so. No, I don't think
Okay.
so. But here's the interesting thing, folks. One of the things we used to think that we were like out on the Sagittarius spiral
The
is what,
Sagittarius spiral
yeah,
of the
Milky
Milky
Way.
Way. So
Yeah,
that would be the spiral towards Sagittarius. Is that's why it's called the
yeah,
Sagittarius
yep,
spiral?
yep.
Okay.
That's where it is. And
But isn't there a Mandela thing that we've moved?
listen, we have moved. We've moved closer to the galactic core.
How?
Yeah, I want to know that too.
So we used to be further out.
We used to be in what they called the Goldilocks zone. And it seems like it's not so much of a Goldilocks zone after all. You know, the thing about Goldilocks, there was 3 bears in there.
Yeah. Even when she found the porridge that was just right.
Exactly. There is a price to pay. And so hear me out on this, Jeff. So
So we've moved.
we have moved, and here's what I am contending. We can see now on Sechi, we've been noticing a background increase of light in the galactic part of our portion of the universe, of our galaxy. I think what's happening is that we're going to see more and more. I did in this video. So imagine this, a pool table, right? So Jeff, you've racked the balls up. You hit the cue ball. What happens when you hit that rack of pool balls?
Well, if you hit it right, they all scatter and go into pockets.
So what
Heidi says there's a galactic hole in the nakshatra mula.
I don't know what that is.
I don't either, but
We're learning.
we're learning.
So my point is this, folks. We're going to start seeing, we just had an object move through our solar system. We had no idea what it was. And I'm thinking, well, why don't you tell everyone that there is this collision taking place? There is cause and effect. And when you start binging the balls, these are planets, these are solar systems, these are stars. Yeah. So we've moved closer to the galactic core. And to do this, folks, it's amazing. What is it?
Oh, she said Saturn is in this nakshatra, and I'm looking up in my book of nakshatras, and it says Mula is in, it looks like Mula in Sagittarius, or it says it's in Sagittarius. So interesting.
So I have a theory, folks. Jeff, have you ever seen this? You can go online to do this. I'd go and check this out. This is from the Thunderbolt.
I'm just getting ready to study Mars, Wayne. It's incredible that you bring that up.
Okay. And interesting because here's a great book you could read with that. Now, we didn't talk, folks.
Secret Mars.
So you can actually see it.
Secret Mars. Is that worth getting?
Yeah, actually it is. It's a really good read. And we're learning more. So in the ancient alien sky, Saturn was much closer to Earth, much closer. And Mars was a living planet until Venus passed by and kicked its butt.
Right. Sounds good, Heidi.
So check it out, folks. So here's my point. What if we're still in this process of moving? You know, they still don't know why the planets are where they are. We know between Jupiter and Mars, where the asteroid belt is, that used to be a planet. It's not there anymore. That's where that asteroid belt came from. So the thing is that are we still in this process of radical movement? I say we are.
And interestingly enough, if we look at the book of nakshatras, as Heidi was talking about, Mula translates to the root, the center, the innermost core. So are we moving back to our core if we're moving towards that? And the goddess, the deity over Mula, is the goddess of dissolution and destruction known as Nariti. So this universe that we're in, we've already said, is destructive.
It's destructive.
Are they pulling us back to take care of us because we're doing stuff, kicking everybody's butt? Are we just a bunch of bullies?
I don't know, but I know we're moving fast. When I get this video done, we've now can take.
And you want to hear something else crazy?
What?
The cast of our galaxy is the Butcher.
Whoa.
Wow. I better get out of this and leave this to Heidi, the expert, but it sounds pretty interesting.
Well, how interesting is that? I mean, coincidence? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so. And listen, this one picture that we now have, because now they've got the telescopes trained on there, folks, we're seeing collisions of stars now that are exploding. We're seeing distances that in a matter of 4 years, we would not have thought possible, but it's so close to us galactically that we're starting to see more and more of this. Now, isn't this interesting?
And Wayne, right now, Heidi and I have to apologize for wrecking Mars. We had something to do with it.
You guys couldn't leave it alone, could you? You just had to mess it up. So, coincidence again, on November 4th through the 6th, the Department of Defense will be conducting a nationwide emergency drill test for what is called Operation Starbright, I believe is what they're saying. It is going to simulate a CME hitting the Earth and taking down the electrical grid.
Oh, nice. So we're doing a drill for that.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. You know.
Wow. When is that going to be?
November 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Interesting.
So here we had back in August, we had Operation Burnt Sky. That was put on by the Department of Homeland Defense and cooperating law enforcement agencies around the country. That was simulating a celestial event. That's why they called it Darkened Skies. Here we are now in November. The Department of Defense is now conducting a test that simulates a coronal mass ejection hitting the planet.
Interesting. Sounds like somebody's trying to scare us.
Well, there's always going to be the fear porn. We love that. I mean, that's why we got Halloween,
Oh, isn't that interesting?
you know? I mean,
We do like to be scared. I'm not sure why we like to be scared.
because it's like crack. It releases endorphins,
That's true. That's a good point.
you know? That's why Hollywood, listen, if Hollywood, like they've had this year, is just an absolutely in the trash can year, they can always bring out the horror movies because people love to be scared. And we do.
I did see The Mummy. I thought it was really good.
With Tom Cruise.
I did. I saw Blade Runner.
I
And I
thought
think I'm going to go see the new Thor movie. Has anyone seen that yet? Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down.
so. They trashed the Tom Cruise, but I looked at it from a whole different. I looked at it from an alchemy point of view, and now that the rebirth of Seth, which I'm telling you, this whole
Not only
thing.
did I see it in the theater, but look what I have to watch tonight.
There you go.
I'm going to watch it again.
You know.
Of course, I do have a little bit of a man crush on Tom Cruise.
Well, listen, the dude looks good at 50.
He's my age. He's 54.
54. Well, there he is. So again, we think about planet Earth, we think about the gods, God, we think about all of this, but it's always in the context of us being isolated into this sphere. And I think we got to break out of that. Again, when I see the enormity of the universe, when I think about galaxies colliding, worlds, I mean planets, again, think between Mars and Jupiter. There used to be a planet there. That would have been in the habitable zone.
Between Mars and Jupiter.
Yeah. They're now finding out that you don't need a star per se for a planet to stay alive. In fact, I also read here that Mike Brown from Caltech was saying that they now theorize, and it's a theory, it's out, that most life that's out there is probably inside the planet. Gets back to our hollow Earth theory. That
the guy from where said that most life is probably inside planets?
Mike Brown.
From?
Caltech.
Caltech. Interesting.
Mike and his group are the ones that have discovered all the KBOs, the Kuiper Belt objects, these huge exoplanets. He's the one who is now believing they've tracked Planet 9. We know kind of the elliptical orbits a little bit outside of our orbit.
So would that make our planet atypical to have most of the life on the surface?
It would be unusual because if you think about it, the surface is very harsh.
Oh, attention, folks. Please hit the like button. So there's a likelihood that there would be life within our planet.
Exactly. In fact, I think that if you look at this just with a cognitive open mind, that you look at, okay, let's just take this from
and if Vandenberg and I trash Mars, there still could be life underneath.
Very well could. I mean, again, what we're finding out is even on Pluto, this dwarf planet, that it still has volcanization taking place. So we're finding the moons around Saturn, Jupiter. You can just go and name them. They all have an inner core heat. So now I'm really going to get off into this thing. If gravity exists, which obviously it does, we're all sitting here. So gravity is an energy force, Jeff. Now, is there gravity at the center of our planet?
It lessens as you get to the center, doesn't it?
Exactly, it does.
So we don't really understand gravity.
We do not. We do not. Not at all.
Now, most people will argue with you up and down that there's no doubt that the center of the planets are a molten iron core.
No, that is a theory. It's never been proven. It's a theory. And in fact, if gravity cannot exist at a core of where it originates, how are you going to have a solid mass would not make any sense. A solid mass of what?
Well, is molten solid?
Is it a state of matter?
Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely not gaseous, and it's not liquid, so it's almost solid anyway.
And here's the other thing. We get the idea that the energy of the sun as it's passing through, and by the way, there's cosmic rays as well.
Hmm.
Our knowledge in our science is just now getting there. But the fact is that when you have photons, you got particles passing through our planet. We've got this crazy idea that when the Earth absorbs that heat, it's just onto the surface. We don't understand how the nature of particles, as they continue to permeate through mass and not necessarily solid mass, that how the planet can contain that energy as well.
So Wayne, help me understand. So gravity occurs at its strongest point at some central place. I mean, like,
It's
because
called
if
the
we go
equilibrium.
high, gravity release it or lessens, and you're telling me if we go deeper, gravity lessens. But here on the Earth and on the surface, it's greatest because it's at a medium. But how would that be, how would that affect people if they were living inside the Earth? Would they be in a low gravity environment?
They would be.
Ah, so they're probably more slighter than we are.
They'd probably be taller than we are.
And slider, that's probably why we don't see them up here very much, because the gravity would be, it would literally be us, like us trying to breathe water.
And let me just tell you how I can prove this point. We live on the surface where the atmospheric pressure is the greatest. That's why we age in so many
Ah,
ways, is
so
that,
we could go into the center and probably thrive because we'd live longer and it'd be like awesome.
all right, so how do we get fresh water on the planet? How do we get fresh water?
I don't know.
Because
It filters up from the earth, right?
it does. There's an alchemy experiment that you can actually
Ooh.
see how this works. So, folks, it can't be solid.
Not
Just
if water's filtering up from it.
exactly. And
Please and River says, tall and slender, just like the tall grays.
yeah, or what they call the Nordic whites.
Or the ant people that the natives talk about,
Yeah.
the American Indians.
There are legends all around the world of people who live inside the earth.
There are.
They are. And it's quite interesting when I started thinking about gravity. It was like, well, that's right. You know, when you start getting out, let's say 250 miles or so, when you're out in space, you know, now
Now, Gary says, don't we get water from evaporation into the clouds and then rainfall?
that is one form. But again, the
Yeah.
earth, how much, how much does the earth hold within it?
But can there be a water table between us and the molten core?
Well, you're trying to say then that it would be completely global, then that would really put the tectonic plates on.
Yeah, that would be problematic.
It would be.
That would be problematic.
So I think there's things that we have yet, I often say this, instead of going out in outer space, why don't we go into inner space?
That's what I've been wondering. I mean, why are we spending all that money to
It,
go outer space when we so much left to discover here?
we know outer space, we could never thrive out there. These physical bodies will not thrive in an outer space environment.
That's right.
They've proven that. Uh,
Wayne, is it gravity that kills us?
I think it is. It's really amazing what gravity is, because if you think about gravity, what is gravity? It's basically frictioning. It's friction, right? Moving across something. Otherwise, you couldn't have the pull.
Hmm.
And
Very interesting.
so the Earth is spinning at 1,050 miles per hour. That's, I mean, folks, I still can't comprehend that because I can only see the sun as it's going across, but we've got the earth is spinning, you've got the sun that's spinning, you've got the solar system that's spinning. And here's the crazy thing, Jeff. Everyone thinks it's on this plane. Actually, it's a corkscrew. Is how
Yeah.
we're moving through space.
Now,
And
that's one of the great arguments by flat earthers against spherical Earth, that we couldn't possibly all be spinning like that. How do you respond to that?
there is a science and a knowledge that we don't understand yet. I mean, we're still trying to figure out what gravity is.
Hmm.
Um, you know, when I hear people say absolute, that can't be that way, then again, Jeff, what they're saying is all knowledge has been discovered, all science has been known, and there isn't anything else left for man to do.
And there's a lot of math that does back up that that's happening. And I would define, people say, oh, well, we can't observe it. Well, you can observe electricity, but I don't see anybody having trouble using
But
that.
we can. I mean, so I remember when Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 was launched.
Yeah.
How do you think that the spacecrafts got out there, folks? We use the gravitational pull.
To whiplash them. Yeah.
Exactly. We have a spacecraft now heading to the sun that it will actually be several million miles from this. And it has to go through Venus. I think it's twice, using Venus as the slingshot. So it dispels that theory right there.
Yeah.
How do
It's
you?
just bad science, and it just
That's what it is.
doesn't make it's you have to ignore math and lots of other stuff. And anyway, we
Well,
move beyond that.
well, it's just that again, we cannot limit ourselves, Jeff, in saying, well, that can't happen. That's impossible. I don't know. I've seen a lot of stuff in the last 50 years that they said was impossible. I'm seeing computers that can now think faster than a human brain.
Yeah.
By the way,
Yeah.
an article today.
Gentlemen, the impossible is our business.
So get this.
And it really is.
This shows you. It shows you the collective consciousness. So now, folks, all around the globe, there are new religions springing up worshiping AI.
I was just I'm going to do a show on that later today. I pulled that article up.
I went, point proven right there. If there was no God, we would invent it.
Yeah.
I mean, we would invent the magic. We would invent the whole case to make it valid. And do I think that it's foolish? No. I mean, AI is real.
Wayne, even in Star Trek, the one with the whales, what was that, The Journey Home, Star Trek 3?
Yeah.
They slingshotted around the sun to get enough speed to go back in time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the math is
So
there.
if it's on Star Trek, it has to be real.
It has to be true. and the fact is that we're not sitting in one place in space. I mean, again, I think the sun is moving at 500, I think it's 540 miles per hour. The Earth, I already said that one. It moves at 183,000 miles, something like that. So we're all moving through space very fastly.
Right, we are.
So,
and you think about it, if you're on an airplane, how fast are you going on a jet?
well, let's say you're on a 737-800 series, you're going to be flying about 535 miles an hour.
Does it feel like you're going 535 miles an hour? Is your hair blowing back? Are you?
It's a very interesting effect. It really is, because.
Are you? No, you're walking around.
No.
Some people are joining the Mile High Club. There's all kinds of stuff going on.
So that in itself, think about that one, folks. How can you stay stationary when you're actually moving at over 500 miles an hour?
Same way you can stay stationary when you're on a spinning sphere.
Exactly. And then it's always this one. Remember this, when the sun is rising, it's setting somewhere.
Yeah.
It really gets to you. And I said, and that's when I came up with this thing. Well, I said, so is Revelations this the ultimate mind coitus? Because here's the point, Jeff. The galaxy is big. It's big. So is on every other
huge.
It's a big. So on other planets where there is sentient, intelligent life, I believe they have bioforms just like us, whether they're bipedal or arachnoids. I don't know whether they're carbon or silicon life forms. I don't know. But I know this, that matter is attracted to intelligence. You can't have matter unless there is intelligence behind it.
Really?
Think about it. Thought is always in search of matter, and matter is always in search of thought.
Interesting.
Matter cannot exist unless thought brings it out. Fact.
Interesting.
So, when I think about this whole thing that, well, we got the Bible now, folks. This is the Hebraic God, the God of the whole universe. Are they saying the same thing on the other side of the universe? The same thing? Well, we got the Christian God from Earth, and I don't think so. I mean, is their theology built around that they're the only ones, that God sacrificed everything so that they could live?
Oh, absolutely.
I
Are you
mean,
talking about the other people?
yeah, I'm talking about the other
Oh,
people. Is that how the story goes here? And then when you think about death, so how do you know their reality?
I agree, Rocker Chick. Yeah, how do you know? How do you know? But you don't think this failed, flawed, fallen illusion of a God over Earth is the same one over this whole universe?
No, no.
Good. I'm glad.
On the backboard, my black whiteboard over here, I said, are the humans the ETs?
Well, we are to this planet. I don't know.
Exactly. Well, come.
Well, because I was thinking the Elohim came here and made it, so they're from somewhere else. We are in their image, so by extension, we are ETs.
Yeah, can I say one thing about the Elohim? We only got his story. We've only been taught what they want us to know.
That's
And
true.
you know, I just revert back to Psalms 82, the council of the Elohim.
Yeah, and Elohim stood up among the Elohim and addressed even more Elohim.
And there
So
was
there's
a
a head
superior.
Elohim, a council of Elohim, and a group of Elohim.
And then you had the big dude, man, you know, the grand
Yeah.
poobah. He
And then
comes
the
in.
Christ makes it even broader when he says, "You are Elohim," referencing that scripture.
See, what if it's
Maybe
just,
this is the planet where gods are born.
well, they can't live unless they have our energy,
Who's they?
whoever the gods are.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I did a video months ago.
But if we're Elohim, does that mean, Wayne, that ultimately we can't live unless we have energy from somebody else?
Well, isn't this, I think, the ultimate mind game? This is where I think the amnesia
I
comes.
wish, Sarah. I don't think there's a. She says, "Can you slow the chat down?" I don't think. I don't think there's.
Is the
Saying.
chat going pretty good?
It's rolling. We got 150 people in here, and it's rocking.
So here's the point. What if, folks, what if it's just that? What if we are truly here in training as gods? Listen, I just
Yeah.
finished the Apocrypha, the book of Adam and Eve, and I still find that, as Spock said, every legend has a morsel of truth somewhere in it. So
Yeah.
if the Elohim called Adam Yahweh Adam, and Seth later demanded the animals bow down to him, he said, am I not the image of God?
Sophia's son was an Elohim. Sophia's above the Elohim. Just
I
answering the
believe that.
questions.
So I'm going to be doing part 2 of the Zephyr, Yetzirah, and it's really interesting now because as I'm beginning to see it, I think that that is the great thing that we're all.
Oh, guess what, Wayne?
What?
If you click on your settings, there's a thing here that says enable slow mode on your chat,
I did not know that.
which I just did. So we'll see if it slows down a little bit. Slow mode is on. Send a message every 60 seconds. Oh, I don't want to do that.
I am so.
I'm gonna turn off the slow mode.
It's always kind of when you talk like this, you know. Can't you tap faster?
But anyway, we'll see how slow mode works for just a minute.
So this world is a pretty screwed up place. Listen, the technology.
Slow ride.
Boom, boom. Take it easy.
Anyway.
All right. So all the people who lived in St. Louis back in 1976, Super Jam, Fog Hat. Yeah. All right. I was there. Hot. Good God Almighty. So, get back to the point. Elohim's in training.
We are, there's no doubt.
So, here's what I think. So, I don't know what's happening in a star system that I'm seeing is getting its ass kicked, right? And I'm
Talk about
thinking,
Sagittarius.
yeah, and I'm thinking if I'm on a planet, I'm watching this and I'm watching this slow motion disaster coming. What do I do? Well, my point is that, folks, I think that when we leave here, we got a whole lot of other places to go to.
So, Wayne, is that why these ETs, if they are coming here, might be coming here to see the planet where gods are born? Is that why it's a universal curiosity?
We have something unique about this planet, and I think that that could be it. I mean, what is it that I read in one of these books that there are an official, I think it's 27, 28 official species that apparently the UN recognizes? I didn't know that the UN actually has
Or
a,
somebody says the UN
yeah,
recognizes.
yeah. They actually do have a part of the UN for extraterrestrials.
And we had somebody that said ETs are demons. It wouldn't be complete without someone saying that. So thank you for checking off that box.
So, okay, so here's my question on this. So, do demons exist in other planets?
And
Or are they just here? I want to know.
what are demons?
I mean, listen,
Also, I'll turn it off. They said don't, it's not good. So let me turn this off.
they ain't digging it, huh?
It says limit. I could do it to 30. Oh, limit chats to per person. You have to wait a certain amount of time per person. How should we give them? 30 seconds per person, Wayne, or 15 seconds per person?
15. How about that? Have another
Okay.
cup of coffee on us.
So you can only post every 15 seconds per person. Bam. Okay.
So, let's talk about Mars. You know, as I'm understanding it, we've been fibbed to again. Apparently, Mars does not have a red atmosphere.
Why does it appear red to us?
Um, it's that's just a good question. If you look at some of the rover Curiosity photos, um, no, I don't think that that is what we're supposed to be seeing. I don't think it's red.
But in the sky, it looks red, is what I'm saying.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it could be dust because we know that they do have global dust storms that, that would give the same effect that we see here on Earth from the Sahara dust that goes across the Atlantic. Ask all of our friends in Britain 2 weeks
Right.
ago. They know what that red dust will do.
Absolutely.
So I'm convinced that there very well could be life there. I mean, I began to think about this, that if whatever hit between Mars and Jupiter, and George Norrie did one of his things on Coast to Coast on this. So we know that the asteroid belt there was a planet. What was it? What hit it? When?
Interesting points. Yeah, Mars is just Mars, there's a lot more there than what we know.
So I got this out as well. I didn't even know we were going to talk about this. This is cool. So David Flynn, you ever read any of his works?
I have not read any of David Flynn's works. What's that say?
Yeah,
Collection?
Yeah. And right over here, Cydonia.
Oh, yeah. That's the plane on Mars that has the face and all that?
Yeah. He really gets into some really interesting things about Mars that I don't think a lot of people think about. There is evidence. Excuse me, I know I was looking away. There's evidence that there was something here. Whatever hit that planet was catastrophic. We know that. And according to Symbols of an Alien Sky, Venus, when Venus came in, and there are records that talk about Venus coming in as a comet that got caught up into the gravitational field of the sun. Actually, between the sun and Jupiter is what
But
happened.
wasn't there a comment just recently that got caught up into our galaxy from another galaxy?
Yeah, we're finding more and more of it. In fact, when I do this video, Jeff, we see, let's say the Milky Way is this way. What's happening with Sagittarius is that it was the opposite way. And folks, the debris field that we're finding, whoa, I mean, I think we're going to see a lot more stuff flying in. I, I think it's the only result.
And Deborah asks, are there ghosts on Mars?
Good
That's a great
question.
question.
So is a life force attached to the, let's say, the planetary force that it was
I
birthed
would say
into?
no. And if there are any ghosts on Mars, they're probably not very sharp ghosts because they could actually come over here and have a chance to interact with some living beings if there's no living beings on the planet of Mars, as it certainly appears.
Yeah, or do they just not want to be seen? I'm still saying, if you look at the hollow earth, and as I begin to look at this, let's say you wanted to do terraforming of a planet. Many times the atmospheric conditions are not favorable to the type of growth that we have. But if you go with inside of a planet that has a natural heat to it, and we're finding out they do, even moons, well, you could much more easily begin to set up, just because we don't have the technology yet. We got the Bohr machines down there right now that are creating cities underneath this continent.
Underneath Denver, for sure.
We know that for a fact. Listen, it's some weird stuff going on. So my point is, we can't discount this. You and I were talking about this. Why are they building, the billionaires buying the arc bunkers?
There's a reason. Who knows what it is? Either they're just silly or they think they know something.
So getting back to when we opened up the whole morning show on this, ghost, real or not, I think if I
They're
got,
definitely real.
I think they're real.
There's the thing that we identify as ghosts are definitely real.
So what if
'Cause
it is?
I've dealt with them for 35 years, Wayne, 36 years.
Oh, I think that they're here. I mean, maybe, let's think about this. Maybe when we pass over, and right,
And
we find,
some of them are residual energy. That's a good point.
I do believe that. Let's say that then the whole reality of all dimensions is opened up before you, and you have to take the step. You may have a tendency to run your ass back. Listen, I may stick around here a little bit more. At least I can relate to this, right? I don't know if you can watch a football game, but anyway.
I hope not. I hope that I don't. I have the feeling that I would want to go somewhere else.
I'd want to take that next step. I
Yeah.
really would. And so getting back to what we point, that silver cord, what they called in this one book, it's thinner than silk. It yet has the tensile strength to pick up a mountain.
Hmm. Somebody says, are they building those bunkers to have a place to hide their pedophilia?
Hey, if it's the consciousness of man, we haven't achieved what I term pure thought. We haven't gotten there yet. I mean, pedophilia. I mean, come on. There's more to life. I mean, it's, again, let's get back to this point. I think that opening up enlightenment centers, what do you think?
That's a great idea. And I'm definitely going to do the meetup here in Clearwater for, I have to think of the right title for it, but to talk about removing the fear of death and what to do after you die.
I think, folks, Jeff,
I think we get 50 people out.
oh, I think we could do it up here as well. I might want to look into that. Anyone in the Denver area, just email me and let me know. I think that, Jeff, this is something we should give serious
Yeah, I'm
thought to.
definitely going to do it. I'm
Yeah.
definitely going to do it. And maybe we can, yeah, I'll maybe throw a few things in there, like a kava group meditation
Yeah.
to ponder what you do after death. Bam.
You know, now those who are under the mind coitus of the God spell, those are the ones who I really like to talk to the most and saying, listen, I was there, Jeff. I lived in that fear of, like, true story. When I found out that I had not been taught the correct name of the Lord, that all these years I have been praying to a name that didn't exist, that was the first thing. And then I started pondering on that verse that says, all those who know the name of the Lord. And I'm going, I don't have a freaking clue now. I am truly SOL on this one. Because what am I going to say?
And
Um,
not only that, Wayne, there's only one name given among men under heaven whereby all must be saved, but we can't figure the damn thing out.
they
So what's
forgot
the
the
idea?
name.
Nobody can be saved. So that's why you got to keep coming to the church, hoping they'll give you the golden ticket. It's a travesty wrapped up in a shamak. It's a travesty, a sham, and a mockery. It's a Travis shamockery.
You know, and I'm just speaking, Jeff, for myself, but that just shattered my core. I went, what the hell? Come on. And I said, well, if they made up that part, what about that part?
Exactly.
And it took a long time to finally shake it out. Do you remember the old time washing machines that used to have the cranker and the rollers that would, you know,
No, I don't. I don't. We are
I,
definitely doing that in Clearwater in November or December, folks, and we may try to get Heidi down for that as well. So, yeah, let me know, christianwhistleblower@gmail.com, and we can hold about 100 people in our place here, and if we get more than 100, we can do it somewhere else.
well, if we get enough interest, like I said, if there's anyone up here in the Denver area, I'll bring it out on my channel and let's us see. I think this could be something that,
I will set a date. People want to come down here for vacation. That's the one nice thing
ah,
about being in Florida.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, you do have those months that it's like paradise, right?
From here until June, here until May, it's amazing.
Yeah.
That's the price we pay for July and August, because July and August it's like living on Mercury with 98% humidity.
Yeah, I hate that.
You can't even breathe.
You know, we
I remember it's so funny when I was married, married to the mother of my kids, and she came home to Florida for the first time, and we're in the yes, it is, Natalie. We're in the elevator at the airport. She's like, "Oh my God, I can't wait to get out of the airport, out of the elevator so I can breathe." And she got out of the elevator and it was worse. And I'm like, "Welcome to Florida." And I used to
Oh,
practice football twice a day in this. I don't know how I did it.
are you crazy, man?
I don't know how I did it. And it would rain in between practices, so it was even more fun.
I had a
Yeah.
friend who lived in St. Louis that was
Yep.
dating a woman from Iceland, and she came in August to St. Louis. She literally stayed in the bathtub. She
I can imagine. It's terrible.
could
It's
not handle it.
terrible.
And I don't like, I think that's why I like Colorado, is that
Wayne, can we speak things into existence?
I absolutely believe we can.
Absolutely 100%. Is
Yep.
magic real?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Positively 100%.
Yep. Is spell casting real? Absolutely.
Absolutely 100%.
We ought to do a show on that. I mean, spell casting, we do it all the time.
We do it all the time.
Yeah. You if you if you were to merely record yourself all your waking hours and then listen to yourself, you cast spells all, and
Continuously.
the thing is we cast spells, unfortunately, evil spells over our children.
And on ourselves
Yeah.
and our kids. Yeah, absolutely.
I heard a guy in the store cussing himself out. Why, you stupid SO,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
and I stood back and I went, whoa. Now, don't tell me talking to yourself doesn't have an impact.
It
Yeah,
makes a difference.
it does.
And there's really no such thing as pure white magic. And I'll say that why, because white magic is defined as not overriding the intention of anyone else. But if you're doing a white magic spell for protection, are you not overriding the intention of the things that want to harm you?
So let me tell you, after reading, I think that's spot on, Jeff. That's spot on. I mean, what's going on here? You're opposing or oppressing.
I'm getting bored.
uh,
I
yeah.
just got Rooney a new thing and I forgot to attach this one. So,
Does he like it? Is
oh,
that,
he got him. It's like 6 feet tall. He won't get off of it, which is
yeah.
good because it cost me $100.
Oh, it did. So good black white magic, listen, we live in a reality that we speak it. We really do. And
Yep, absolutely.
and it's hard for us. You know, how many of us grew up where our parents said, you know, you're worthless, and it's fed into us so early.
Absolutely.
And I think it's the cause for most relationships that go bad. You know,
Absolutely.
you bring in that trash, and then the next thing you got their trash, and you're mixing.
Mhm.
Reminds me of an analysis restaurant. They
Yeah.
just threw the trash down in the church pews, until the bottom filled up.
Your life is determined by the quality of the questions you ask yourself.
That's good. I was talking to myself today in the mirror because, Jeff, here's the thing. I'm really becoming aware of the inner person, the mind. And that's what I'm really focusing in on, this marvelous thing that takes place where our minds take all this information, and then we get that impression to what we call our reality.
Yeah. And Trina just said something very profound. What you resist tends to persist.
Oh, that's good.
That's really good.
That's good.
And thank you for all the new viewers today. I've seen quite a few. We're glad that you're here and hope that you keep coming back. And we also have a show on Wednesdays called the Midweek Report. Wayne has his channel, R. Wayne Steiger. And of course, we welcome you to keep coming back for all of the great stuff that you get from me, the harmless little fuzzball, your friendly neighborhood Christian whistleblower.
Got a cute cat too. Where's
And cute cat every now and then. He's on his thing over there by the window. He'll never get off it again.
he loves it.
Only time he
So,
comes down is to eat and use the litter box.
so as we close out, Jeff, I was just thinking the countdown. We're always thinking about the countdown.
Countdown to what?
Well, you see, that was just it. We all heard about September 23rd. And then we heard about some date it's going to be in November, some date going to be in December. And it got me to thinking that all my life I've heard about the countdown.
Oh, there's always been one.
Yeah. And so I wrote, is it, will it, can it, or never be? Has it already begun? I don't think it ever has begun. I don't think it ever
No.
will begun. I think that,
Sandra D is in for the Clearwater event.
hey, so last thing that I have on my list is interesting enough is that we talk about global warming. Well, I read a report this morning that said it's not global warming happening to our oceans. It's actually global cooling.
That's why we call it now climate change.
Climate. Now that I do
Because
believe in.
global warming we couldn't prove and it was being disproven. So we have to call it climate change now.
Now, I just want to put this thought out this. So we've been talking about hollow earth. We talked about energy, how energy can be absorbed and pulled down. How much energy do you think that the sun soaks up each day?
Soaks up?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, the ocean absorbs energy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You take that on a global perspective, folks. You see, the first and second laws of thermodynamics state that energy is neither created nor destroyed, but is in a constant state
Yes.
of change. My point is that we never think about what the oceans are absorbing. That energy, folks, it's mind-blowing when you start doing the math on it. I contend we will discover that energy that is absorbed is brought down all the way to the core.
And what is done with it down there?
Well, I think it actually does what, if you read what Jules Verne's, if you read of the conspiracies of Admiral Byrd, that it can actually produce and sustain life.
Yeah, I think so too.
You know, energy, photons, don't necessarily have to be on a ball. They can be in a contained environment that they actually give off the energy.
Yeah, so they don't have to be in a ball to have a ball.
Ooh. High five, dude. So
Excellent stuff.
there's my thoughts for this Sunday.
That's some good stuff. I don't care who you are. That's some pretty interesting stuff.
I think it is.
Even if you're Lee Veltman, it's got to be somewhat interesting to you.
Well, the final one, this is selfishness is humanity's greatest hindrance to ascending.
Yeah.
And may we close out on a deep thought. So I think that that's where we have to begin to teach about death. If you can lose self and understand that the life journey was about self. I've said before, I get ridiculed for this, but I said, I know the meaning of life. It's me.
Yeah.
It really is.
But Wayne, if we believe that we're a spiritual being that's just encased within this body for a short time and our eternity is as a spiritual being, why in the hell do we never talk about what to do once you get out of this body?
Why don't we do that?
It's about time to start doing it. And we're starting it in the next few weeks here in Clearwater, Florida, and hopefully out in Denver, Colorado as well. Wayne, I might even come to Denver to be with you so I can go to Doc Holliday's grave as well.
You know what? We're going to work on this. I
Wayne,
believe that.
guess what?
What?
I'm your Huckleberry.
Well, you
That's
just
just my game.
That's what I was going to say. Why, Curly? You just look like someone walked over your. Who was that? He was. It was.
Why, Johnny
There you
Ringo,
go.
you look like someone just walked over your grave.
I'm your Daisy.
And you know, the beautiful thing about that is you got to love Doc Holliday. Not only does he shoot a guy in the head, but then he talks trash to him on the way down. You'll know Daisy. You'll know Daisy at all.
Maybe
Wow.
Doc Holliday knew something about life because he was sending them Curly or the right on with the message through there.
Oh, that was just amazing. Anyway.
Yeah. So good thoughts.
Anyway.
Good thoughts. Listen, I think this is an important thing. What?
Lyndon wants to thaw his Daisy in Florida because he's up in Canada.
I love it. Well, this has been a good one. I think
This has been a good one.
I think we're on to something here about really talking about letting people know what to prepare for.
And just think about it, Wayne. If you're already prepared or have a good idea, and it's not about knowing exactly what to do, but it's about giving yourself sovereignty after you leave this body to go where you choose to go, or at least have a chance to go where you choose to go, instead of having to go where people tell you to go. Oh, Iowa X, what's going to happen if when Jeff walks over Doc's grave? You probably can't walk over it, and I wouldn't do such a thing, but what was I just going to, doggone it. I had a good thought, but I lost it. Oh, well.
Well, we
We'll
were
get
talking
there.
about the fact that we need to prepare for what is going to be on the other side. And listen,
Yeah.
I think having people like what Barbara, I mean, here's a
Mhm.
person who's got decades of
More experience than we do. That's a subtle way to put it.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, to me, it's like I told her, I said, I want the Vulcan mind meld, you know? Come on. just
But even if she could, would you let her?
No, because, you know, that
Me either.
always comes with the energy.
You never know what else someone's going to slip
Yeah.
in on you.
And isn't that what they pointed out in later when Sarek and Picard changed, it comes with the emotions. You always come with the other side of it.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
You're
true.
gonna go, so that's what you thought about me. Why, you?
Yeah.
And
so learning what is beyond death is the most important. I can't remember what I was trying to think about, but anyway, we'll find it out.
Yeah, can you imagine our culture getting where we put the funeral business out of business?
Well, you still got to have funerals, but they should be parties instead of somber occasions.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
like
about.
The Irish do it, a wake. We have the right idea.
Yeah. I mean, you come in, personally, I'm going to get cremated. You know, there's no need for this.
I don't like the idea of being stuck in a hermetically sealed box.
Man, it's like, let my ashes loose on this mountain.
I wish we could do it, you know, go out. I wish they'd send me out on a barge on the Gulf and then shoot an arrow at me and burn me up, but I don't think they'll let me do it.
So I've told my wife, we're going to, you know, have a party, you know.
Absolutely.
I want you to put on some Led Zeppelin, put on Elton John. I want to put on some, because this is what I grew up with.
We'll have Billy Idol at mine.
Yeah. I want definitely some, you know, Steely Dan, got to have that, you know.
Very nice.
And then I think I'm going to go out with Deep Purple, Smoke on the Water.
Smoke.
Boom, boom, boom.
That's a good one.
Or I was thinking this, Radar Love, you know, by Golden Earring.
Well, you've really thought this through, haven't you?
I think we should. I mean, I want people here to party. I mean, you know, I don't want them to go back with a hangover, but I want them to go out and, you know, have a good time. That's why listen, maybe get a round of golf for everybody. I don't know.
Something like that.
You know?
Oh, the Willie Nelson Highwayman.
Oh, that's a good one. That's
Do
a
you
good
remember the Willie Nelson song Gravedigger?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a great song.
I remember Willie and Waylon when they were first getting together back in
Yeah.
yeah, down in actually I saw them in New Bronzeville.
Great
Uh,
music.
yeah, yeah. Willie and the boys.
I
Oh,
actually went to the place in Tulsa that was Waylon Jennings' favorite burger joint,
oh yeah?
and I've set my butt right in the brown stain of Waylon Jennings' butt.
All right. I don't know how many of you get I think it's Cinemax, excuse me. But Mike Drudge has a weekly series on there called I think it's the Tour Bus. Yes. And he's
Mike Drudge, not Matt Drudge.
Mike Drudge, the one that
Okay.
did Family Guy or
Okay,
no,
so not the
King of
Drudge Report guy.
yeah, no, the King of the Hill. Uh,
Gotcha.
so so Mike Drudge is doing this thing called the Tour Bus, and he's documenting all the stories of Waylon Jennings. Right now, he's doing a two-part, and it's kind of montage of cartoons and real life footage.
Interesting.
I don't
Rocker Chick asked, how did it feel?
warm, warm. So my only thing is, after watching the latest installment with Waylon Jennings, is this: those guys, I don't know how they're alive.
They're not. Waylon's dead.
Well, how they stayed alive. I mean, the fact
Yeah.
that the drugs, good God, did Waylon pass on?
Yes. What's the name of that place, Lee? It's I can't remember it. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah. And there's just pictures of Waylon. Yeah, Waylon died probably 6-7 years ago.
Well, you see what happens when you don't keep up with things.
He went to the big Lukenbach, Texas in the sky.
Well, listen, he's got a few of them up there.
Yeah.
I often say this: could we see a concert when we get up there?
It's Mike Judge, we're being
Mike
informed.
Judge, thank you, thank you. And have they seen the series?
All we got was it's Mike Judge.
Okay, it's a good one. You'll like it. I think the story of Jerry Lee Lewis. Holy cow, that was funny. Um, so I'll just tell you one of the little scenes there. So Willie smokes a lot of marijuana. Has.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if y'all know this, but the guy gets high. Apparently, back in 73, 74, him and Waylon went up to Canada with their tour buses. And Waylon was sitting in there and saying, Willie, this damn thing smells.
It's actually called Hank's Hamburgers, believe it or not.
Oh, there you go. He says, this thing smells like marijuana. You got to get this clean. He said, they'll never let this thing pass the border. Well, Willie got the thing in. They steam cleaned it. And anyway, when they got up to the border, they get there. The dogs they bring out, it didn't get the smell out. The dogs got in the bus and they just sat down because everything smelled like pot. And so the border agents are like, what's happening here? And they went through the luggage and they couldn't find anything. So they let Willie go. Well, Waylon bus behind him, they thought that this thing was a shoe-in, but they had all the drugs.
Oh, no.
So they bring him in there because they're going to strip search him. Well, what they did not realize was that every one of the band members were deputized Texas Rangers.
Oh, nice.
And so they all threw their badges on the table. And of course, the border guard said, screw it, go on. So anyway, I digress.
I actually saw Waylon in concert here in Florida when he was on bail for getting busted for cocaine. So.
Oh, really? You see, folks, life, it's a journey for each of us.
And that's where he wrote that song, Don't Y'all Think This Outlaw Bit Is Done Got Out of Hand, if you remember that one.
I do.
That's how he wrote that song.
Yeah. Oh, they were good times. That was
good times. All right, folks, it's been an hour and a half. This is not your normal Sunday show, obviously. Ghost, marijuana, Waylon Jennings.
Department of Defense test. I mean, come on.
All kinds of good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Wayne, you have your Denver Broncos shirt on. I wish your boys luck today.
I've been beat up. Yeah.
Well, that's how it goes.
Yeah, that's football.
That's football.
Jeff.
Well, folks, for R. Wayne Steiger and the R. Wayne Steiger channel, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, your friendly neighborhood Christian whistleblower. Remember our friends, the Leak Project, Heidi Vandenberg, Channel 27, Overwatch channel, and, of course, R. Wayne Steiger channel. And until Wednesday night with the midweek report, we'll see you again together. And go to Wayne's channel, come back to this channel for more broadcast excellence. We'll see you again, folks.
Thanks,
And thanks for
folks.
being here today.
Be kind.